13 is a brand founded for the creators, the innovators, and the motivators. For the people who get up every single day and strive to be better and leave a positive mark on this world. 13 is a fantastic clothing company, and the people that are behind it are passionate, creative, and some of the nicest people I have ever met. All of their stuff looks great, it's comfy, all the designs are so super cool. 13 has some of my favorite t-shirts and seriously my favorite pair of sweatpants I have ever worn. 13 has been a long-time sponsor and supporter of the Cory Cast, and they wanted to extend their love to you, the listener. So when you check out their website at thur13en.com, fill your cart with some cool hats, hoodies, sweatpants. Just make sure you use the code word CoryCast at checkout, and you're going to save yourself a little bit of money. thur13en.com. Make sure you tell them Cory sent you. This episode, my friend Christina Brennan joins the show, and she is a fantastic, intelligent person that I met at Tanner McCrory's school down at Binghamton Martial Arts Academy. And she's got a really interesting job. I have a very hard time explaining it. So allow me to read her bio really quickly. Just humor me. This is it's going to show you how awesome Christina is. At just 27 years old, Brennan has the experience of some of the top-level executives in the world across the influencer, sport, and entertainment industries. Getting her start in sales at the New York Yankees, Brennan's experience in sales, consulting, negotiating, and industry trends are unparalleled. Brennan took on another challenge, became the vice president of Premier Management Group in Celeb Experts, ran by CEO Evan Morgenstein. This achievement made Brennan the youngest vice president in the company's history, spearheading multiple agencies, managing top social media influencers and Olympic athletes, and consulting top-tier businesses. Currently, Brennan is the VP of the Digital Renegades, a branch of Celeb Experts that works with a variety of the best talent across all platforms of social media. Today, as well as the Food Renegades, the biggest social house on any platform. She is well-seasoned, super knowledgeable, and just an all-around great human being. And she also does martial arts, what makes her pretty badass. So don't take my word for it. Enjoy this episode of the Cory Cast with my good friend, Christina. All right, so first of all, I just want to say thank you, Christina, for doing this. And probably a good way to start is just introduce who you are and kind of what your background is.
Yeah. So I'm Christina Brennan. I am the president of Celeb Experts in the Digital Renegades. I am a top talent agent for influencers, mainly digital talent, but I do have a Bravo TV star and I have a few athletes. Before that, I was mainly sports. So it's really, really exciting to be in the space. And I've also been doing Muay Thai now at this point for 7 years, I think, which is nuts. Yeah, which is where we met. And then boxing a lot, and just don't ask me about my jujitsu. But yeah,
I wasn't sure if you were doing jujitsu.
Oh my gosh. I think I've done probably 7 classes over 7 years. I have a gi. That's about it. That's all I got.
Once a year, you put the gi on, and then you say Mazel Tov. You're all done.
Yeah, exactly. I get humbled every time I go into class. But so I run some of the biggest digital campaigns. I represent some of the biggest social media influencers. My roster stretches about 150 million. So lots of fun stuff, lots of exciting things. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
It seems like it's a relatively new job type, right? Like, I don't think this kind of job existed like 10 years ago, you know?
Yeah, no, it didn't. It definitely didn't. I went to school to become a sports agent. That's why I was at Syracuse University, and they had a great sports management program. And I did start my career in sports. I worked at and actually, believe it or not, the reason I got into MMA was actually to get an internship in sports. I don't know if you know this story.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. So my background was not fighting or anything like that. I was a synchronized swimmer by trade.
Wow.
So yeah, I competed nationally and all that fun stuff. And that was my life. And the team kind of fell apart. We were doing really well. The team fell apart. I was bitter. I thought I was going to go to college for it, all that fun stuff. And I ended up going into neuropsych instead. And I was a neuropsych researcher. And then after I completed my research, I was just like, what are my big passions? And it was sports. Yeah. I didn't want to go back into synchro, but I wanted to do something in sports. So I transferred to Syracuse. And because I was a transfer student, I needed to, and I didn't have a lot of money. I don't want to say I was poor by any means, but I didn't have a lot of money. So I had to work, and I lived off campus and all that fun stuff. And when I was home, I had to find an internship. So I was already doing double the classwork so I can graduate on time as a transfer student. And I was like, I can't leave because I don't have the money to go to New York City right now. I can't do anything in like big sports. So I thought, because I lived in Endicott, New York. But then I was watching the news one night, and there was this headline about a local UFC fighter who was making his comeback to the UFC at the time. And I knew that I couldn't just walk in there and be like, hey, could I have an internship? So I enrolled in Muay Thai lessons and built a friendship. And at the time, I was helping him with his social media a little bit, but that's how I got in. I was terrified. Terrified. I did not get in for self-defense. I was figuring out how the hell I was going to get an internship.
Wow. I didn't know the story. This is awesome.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure Tamden knows the story. I mean, he obviously knows I was his intern, but I don't think that he knew that was the reason I walked in.
Wow. And it forever changed your life to now one of your like favorite hobbies.
It was the best decision I ever made in my life, was walking into that gym. Best decision. Other than my fiance. Was the best decision.
Yeah, you're like, let me correct that real quick.
Yeah. All right.
That's amazing. That is so was your first class boxing or Muay Thai?
Muay Thai. It was Muay Thai. Yeah, because I had to work and the Muay Thai classes were late. So I was able to go to Muay Thai class. And at the time, I think we were out of the YMCA. I don't know if you remember that or came down when we were at the Y.
Yeah, I remember testing some guys down there at the Y. It was a very weird spot, because I remember telling Sifu I felt like I had to go into a building, then go down the hallway. Not the second door to the left. Second door to the left is a pool or something. And then the third door to the left is the gymnasium where you guys were training.
Yeah. It was a tiny room, but now, I mean, the facility's like so much bigger, right? And it's cool. It's cool to see how awesome that the gym has done. Like, I mean, it's been incredible to go through it. And I still remember I was semi-helping. I was kind of useless there, but I was helping put up the mats at the new building where the new location was. But yeah, I mean, it was tiny, and I still remember, I can't remember if it was Tamden or someone else. They're like, so like, are you nervous? And I have a motto, like, fake it till you make it, all the time. And I was like, no. I was literally dying inside. I was just like, what did I get myself into? What the hell am I doing? And I went in, and like I said, best decision other than Nate that I ever made. So.
Yeah, and it's funny is like when I have a new person in my class, I always start class with shadow boxing, and it's always the new person's like fear, right? Because it's day one. The second I give a very brief, hey, this is what we're doing today. Let's start by shadow boxing. I'm going to set the timer. 3 minutes starts, and then I always tell new person's like, oh, what do you do? It's just it's
what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing with my body. I've never done anything other than run or maybe lift weights, and it's very nerve-wracking when you first get into it. It seems overwhelming because people are throwing punches and doing all these other things. How did you start to feel more comfortable?
I mean, you are humbled so fast when you walk in there too. I mean, so there's that humbling process. And I think you really have to accept, like everything. And I kind of bring myself back to that mindset with business, is that you're going to suck at something for a long time. And you got to be okay with sucking at something for a long time before you get at least decent. Right.
Yeah. Amen.
But, I had my classmates were awesome. I had someone kind of take me under their wing. I had someone actually start at the same time I did. So I have a lot of girls kind of ask me, I want to get into this, but I'm nervous. And I understand why, especially, not every gym is as great as, the ones we're at. Right. And I always say, bring someone with you, because they're going to suck just as bad as you are at the same time.
Exactly.
And I had that too. I had someone start at the same day as me. And then once we got down the number systems, pretty much, we were partners, and we were partners every single time. Because there's nothing worse than, knowing you're not as good as your partner, and feeling like you're holding them back. And then you get self-conscious, and then your punches aren't as good. Your kicks aren't as good. Your elbows are not as good, whatever. You feel uncomfortable. And I was always very grateful for the higher ranks at the time who helped me, because otherwise you can't get there. But you don't want to take all their time, right? You don't want to take all their time, because this is training for them too. So I was very lucky to have someone start with me. And, it was the gym community that I think really kept me hooked. Because you do MMA, everything for self-defense, for workouts, whatever your reason is. But I think a lot of people underestimate the friendship that comes with being at a gym.
Yeah. And just the sense of community. I've said it before, but I think back in I don't know, our parents' day, grandparents' day and age, the only thing people did for hobbies was go to church. So their sense of community came from church. And now there's so many different outlets and passions for people, that I think people are finding their passions in a volleyball team that they play with every Friday nights, as a rec league, or your boxing gym, or the place you go to paint, all these ways that people find community now. Now martial arts is it sounds weird to call it a church, because you're not worshiping anybody, right? There's just a nice sense of community. And to say too, the person that you help that's more experienced, right, that you feel like you're holding back, is total, they don't see it that way. They're just I'm helping a new person get on board, and they sympathize, remembering when you had started too, because it's scary when you first start in a gym.
And you want to know something? Newbies fire such crazy things. It's great for defense, because all your punches are going to come at you.
Punches coming all over the place.
Yeah. You can learn something from anyone, right? And you can kind of learn where your weaknesses are too, right? So
now,
and it's
being
a great
in
time to work on technique.
Now, being in Thai for so long, do you have somebody in the boxing world, or a Muay Thai athlete, or maybe somebody that you look up to?
So, I can't say enough about Tamden and Herman. I'm blessed. I am blessed with the best coaches. And then you guys, the other thing with the community is, when I went and transferred to Syracuse, I was really lonely. I was very, very, very lonely, especially because at the time I lived about an hour off campus. So I was a transfer student. I was working. I was living off campus. I really didn't have a social college experience, to be quite transparent. So coming to the gym and being with you and Chris and Sifu and everyone there was really, really awesome for everything. Health, obviously, as well as, friendship. So, I have great people that I get to train with, and Caillou's usually my training partner at BCMA, and then just a mix. And then I think people don't realize this either. It's been awesome for my relationship with my brother. So you obviously know Billy, right? He's 6-0, undefeated. I got him into it. I don't think people realize that. They think it's the other way around. That's what happened. And
that's what I thought.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I begged him to come to Muay Thai class. I said, Billy, I think this is going to be really good for you. I think you need to come to class. And I got him in, and it was great for us. It's something we can do together. We hold pads for each other when we can't make it to the gym. We talk. We have something to talk about. It's great.
Yeah, that I'll tell you, you line of Brennan kids are freak athletes. All of you kids, like it's you, Billy, and then you have a sister, right?
So I have an older brother who is an excellent wrestler. And then it goes me and then Billy and then Kate. Kate is probably going to go pro for volleyball. And then
This one,
obviously Billy.
this is what I'm
So,
saying. Like I remember you had mentioned something about your sister, very good at volleyball.
yeah.
Your freaking brother picks up Muay Thai. You tell him one thing, he picks it up like
Yeah.
this. You have the freaking consistency like no other person, and it's just like it's crazy that the Brennan bloodline is like athletes. You guys are like physically intelligent.
My parents were not athletes, though. That's the weird thing.
Really?
No.
Wow. How does it happen? That's
I don't
crazy.
know.
I love
My
genetics.
parents never pushed us to sports. I mean, I don't know. We're also very large human beings. So there's that too.
Yeah, I feel like when I stand next to your brother, there is a funny picture of your brother and I of his giant wingspan, and I'm like at his belly. And
No
I'm
way.
like
You gotta
posing
find
next to
that.
him. I want to say Chris took the picture and even took it up like at a higher angle to make me look even smaller.
Oh my gosh, I
But
love
it's
that.
such a funny picture.
I love that. We'll have to see it.
Yeah, I gotta find it now. Now I'm going to maybe I'll slice it in the episode
Oh my gosh, that
later.
would be so cool.
With Thai, their Sifu was like implemented like an armband rank system, but
Yeah.
generally speaking, Muay Thai and boxing doesn't have a rank system. So it's
Yeah.
a lot of people fall off the wagon because there is no like instant gratification of getting a belt
Yeah.
or an armband or something.
Yeah.
So like how does Christina stay actively engaged in combat sports?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one, that friendship aspect. Oh my gosh. Probably key. I'm so excited to see my friends.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty social person. So I'm so excited to see my friends. And, one of the cool things is that, and the cool thing about fighters and people at the gym and is that like, they just care about you. They don't care about your job. They don't care about what you do. They don't care anything. And I work in social media and it's flashy and things like that. And sometimes, not all the time, people are very vain and they're trying to one up and whatever. That doesn't exist there. So that's the first thing. The next thing is self-defense. I mean, I lived in Manhattan for years. I wanted to be able to give myself a fighting chance at, safety, right? So that was the other thing, personal safety. I believe it's really your responsibility, right? As much as we want to think, that nothing's going to happen to us. We don't know that. And we want to be prepared for any instance. Right. So there was that. There's the health aspect. And the last thing is it keeps my mind so sharp. It gets me up in the morning. I train when I'm not in upstate New York. I'm in North Carolina right now. I find like a heavy bag to hit at my apartment in North Carolina. So it keeps me mentally sharp and it makes me feel so good, strong, confident, powerful, all these things. Right. And it's also been cool because I've been posting some of my boxing and my MMA stuff on social, which I hadn't done before. And I found like this girl martial arts community and it's been fun and awesome. Yeah. And one of my friends who's out in LA, I met through social. She's like a 7-time Muay Thai champion. She's incredible. Oh, yeah. She's incredible. And I got to have coffee with her out in LA and we just were chatting and we're friends and all this stuff. So going back to the friendship, but yeah, I mean, personal safety, keeping my mind sharp, business sharp. It makes me a better agent. And it's great for stress release. It really is. Yeah. I am in a very stressful industry that's 24/7. Social media doesn't stop. So being able to be present and focused, otherwise you're losing teeth, is really important.
Now, you had said it gives you confidence. Were you always like a confident person before going to martial arts, or did the confidence come when you started training?
Because I was a really good synchronized swimmer. I mean, that's not a scud truth. I had confidence from that. But it kind of fell off when the team fell apart. And I was really kind of I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where confidence comes from. I always do the fake it till you make it. You know, you're going to believe it when you
Yeah.
start talking it. Like, it doesn't matter how ridiculous it sounds, right?
Mhm.
But the confidence in the fact that if you apply yourself, you can figure it out,
Mhm.
probably is where it comes from. You know, it's
Right.
been a journey. You don't get decent, and I use the word decent instead of good because everyone has has
Yeah.
different I guess you could say benchmarks. But you know, I think it's that. I think it's the improvement. I think it's the application, the goal setting, things like that. I think really help.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, it's given me like I remember when before I started, I had zero self confidence in anything, and it just helps me. I don't know. Not only is it a great reliever of stress, but it also helps me carry myself in a
Yeah.
different way, and it's just from training a few days a week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
And
it's crazy.
do you, because you're selling homes left and right, do you find that it's like the best stress reliever out
Yeah.
there? And
Yeah,
yeah,
like, selling real estate can be very stressful because it's like you are selling on a very emotional piece to somebody, right? So it's easy
yeah,
to get caught up in that emotions, and for me, it's like last night I went to jujitsu, and after you do 10 5-minute rounds, you like, how are you gonna be upset about anything? You're just exhausted. You're just exhausted, you learn some cool shit, and, like, it's always just a nice stress relief, and it's almost like, John Stewart has that the saying moment of zen. Here it is, your moment of
yeah,
zen, right? Like for me when I'm hitting a bag or I'm grappling, that is my meditation. That is my moment of zen. It's my time to like only think about what's going on in the moment, not think about maybe the deal that's falling apart or maybe that I have to get so and so under contract or that I need to fix this problem or this issue. It's just like this guy's throwing a jab cross and it keeps leg kicking me. What's the solution? Takes me out of that
right.
bubble and is able to at least take my mind off it for a little bit rather than stew in those emotions, you know,
That's a
like
big
sit and
one.
simmer, which is
Yeah,
what I think happens to a lot of people is they sit and simmer in the emotions for too long and then they end up getting built up, you know?
yeah. No, I couldn't agree with that more. It's that stewing, like, you
Yes.
know, when it gets stressful, I have that same reaction where I just want to be still, and that's like the worst thing you can do, right? Because
I
then it gets
know.
worse, and the problem gets worse, and then it starts compounding. And
Mhm.
by any means, like, I mean, at least you're buying yourself some time with class, right?
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
distance, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
Also, you think clearer too after that. Like I feel like I don't have there's not so much chatter going in
Mm,
my head after. So like if I need to sit down and write a contract or do
yeah,
something for work, I have a clear mind ready to go to
yeah,
serve that client, you know. When you had mentioned before, like when we met, it was at BCMA and you told me about your job and I remember walking away being like, what a very cool job
yeah,
working in social media with all these like various people. What
yeah.
what is your main goal when you meet a prospective client? And
Sure.
what is it?
No, no, sure, sure. You know, I didn't mean to cut you off. I
Oh,
thought you
you're good. No. You're good. No, no.
were yeah, so I think yeah, I think we met at BCMA and then we obviously trained together at Tai Kai, but I didn't always start in social media. So I was in sports before. So
Sports.
I interned at one of the biggest agencies for sports out there, working with the biggest athletes in the world. And then I found my love of sales there. And I got some success right away there. And then I went to the New York Yankees, and I quickly became top on the board for my group. And then that's when I got a call from my first ever internship, which was working with Olympic athletes. It was all virtual. And the way they enticed me over was they had athletes, and they did at the time, and we still do. So Dara Torres, 12-time Olympic medalist, but they also had this other person on the roster. And it was Jen Selter, who across all of her platforms has about 40 million followers. And that was my first experience in social media. I never said, you know, I want to work in social media. Like, that is my goal. That is what I want to do. But it became very, very obvious in conversations that that's where the money was going, right? Maybe it wasn't being a sports agent. Maybe it was being an agent to digital talent and working with athletes, right? Dara, and now I have a digital athlete and NIL athlete who has a phenomenal social media following, Michael Giroux. but maybe there's something else. And I was just like, okay, cool. Let me try it. And it was a sales role. And at the time I was very bored with what I was doing. So I'm like, let me just try it. So I got on, and let me tell you, when those numbers started hitting and I started seeing what digital creators got paid, and this is going back 5 years. So this is before TikTok. My mind was blown. I was like, holy shit. And I'm like, this is the beginning. This is the beginning.
Right.
I'm in at the beginning. So when I look to recruit clients, it's very heavily based around social media following, but also quality of audience, right? So it's not just, do they have the followers, because followers don't equate to dollars. It's, do they have an engaged audience? Are they telling stories? Is their face in their content? Are they recognizable? Like, is this something that their audience sees? Because brands, for the most part, want to invest in spokespeople. And there's been a big shift away from athletes and traditional celebrities. It's now kind of shifting back a little bit, not quite. Influencer still has the lead. This digital talent has this relationship now with an audience that athletes don't have, for the most part, and other celebrities don't have. So they have almost direct access to a consumer that brands want to influence, right? So it's, do they have the ability to influence a consumer? Or do they have the ability to cultivate an audience that believes what they say? They have a strong following, they've built it up, and they're really connecting with that following. So that's really what I look for.
What do you think goes into really connecting with their audience? Like, what is an influencer doing versus maybe like an athlete that's helping them just connect with their audience more?
Yeah. So take the influencer versus athlete. An athlete's main job is to perform in their sport. An
Yeah.
influencer's main job is to have a social media following that's engaged. And I'm
Right.
not saying athletes don't have engaged social media followings. There's a number of athletes who freaking kill it. Take Rob Gronkowski, for example. He kills it. And you could see it in the sponsorship and endorsements that he is the best of both worlds. So I don't want to discredit all athletes, or I don't want to discredit athletes at all. A lot of them aren't interested in social media and just want their on-field contract. You know, they can have multiple streams of income. Whereas influencers, oftentimes they want their income to come from social media and social media alone. So that is their job. So I think that's the big thing, is that a social media influencer's job is to have an audience that's engaged. Now, how they engage that audience, you know, there's always, I believe, an element of luck to it, but the people who really do well and work really hard at storytelling typically have the best audiences. So it's not about just showing, it's about connecting. So that's really the crossover. And it used to be the age of, you know, hot girls, right? Instagram was, you know, the booty pics, the belfie from Kim Kardashian. It was all that. And it was followers, followers, followers. The market shifted from that. And if you don't have an audience that reflects who you are, you're going to have some problems with brand deals and endorsement deals, right? So if I'm posting content that's really geared towards the male gaze, right, and geared towards them, how am I going to sell, let's say, a sports bra to them when they won't purchase it, right? So you really want your audience to be reflective of who you are, or at least what you're portraying on social media, so you can have sell-through in brands. Otherwise, I mean, you do whatever you want. I mean, there's no judgment here. But if we're talking about monetization, that's really what we want to look for.
Gotcha. I've always felt like with social media, it gave like you felt like you were closely connected with that athlete or the influencer, rather than like an athlete, though. Like, I'm saying athlete is a loose term, but very much seems like they clearly hire somebody to run their social media, and it is not them who is operating, that's not a bad thing. But when you look at it versus an influencer who is directly controlling what they post and who they speak to, there might be like a stronger connection with those followers. Not that they don't love the athlete, but
and that's a big thing with scaling your audience and scaling your brands, because I have influencers who now have full-time videographers and things like that. And it's also about, you know, controlling the narrative, right? So that whole area of disconnect that you're bringing up, Cory, is very, very big. Is this surface level or is this deep? And what does that look like, right? So you're spot on with that.
How do you find new clients? Like, how does it go about that you put pen to a contract?
Yeah. So I have actually a lot of people contact me. Um,
Oh, snap.
I have, I don't post as much as I should. And that's my goal for this year, to actually work on my social media, which I don't do. Um, but I had a few videos on TikTok go viral. I've got about 10,000 over there, 10,000 followers, something like that. So small, but it doesn't really matter because the people who come across it are the people that I'm targeting. So
Yeah.
I've had everyone from, micro influencers to A-list celebrities contact me off of TikTok videos.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, it's been really, really cool. But also I have a really good reputation in the business. So I close very big deals that other agents do not. And just like yesterday, two of my clients had book deals launch and it got a ton of press and a ton of different things. So I've also built a roster of, some of the top of the top. So that is always helpful. And I've retained these clients for a long time. So if I ever needed to, I can call one up and say, could you give me a recommendation or something like that? Otherwise, it's manually going out and prospecting. It's shooting them an email, shooting them a DM, maybe commenting on their post. So it's a mix of all things, outreach, events. But I have had a lot of people come to me, so much so that I actually had to remove, my phone number from the website and a lot of my
Oh, wow.
contact info because people were calling me at 3 a.m.
Wow.
so I had to, it was nuts. It was
Yeah.
nuts. It was nuts.
What do you think contributes to the fact that you're able to land those high deals and high contracts that maybe the other people aren't able to?
I'm very well read. I know everything about my clients. I know everything about their competitors. I know I am transparent when I sell. I'm not dirty when I sell, which leads to a lot of renewals. I'm not going to promise something that I cannot keep or I know my client cannot deliver on. So that does not happen. And I do a lot of outbound work. I'm very into new biz development. And I've been doing this for a long time. So influencer agent is definitely a new, or influencer manager, whatever you want to call it, is a new career. But the truth is I've now been doing it for 5 years. My CEO, Evan Morgenstein, was one of the top Olympic athlete agents and started the agency in 1995 and shifted to digital. He's the one who recruited me. So we've been in the talent representation business as a company for 27 years. So
Wow.
talent management and things like that, we know what we're doing. We're not pretending
Yeah.
to know what we're doing.
Right. Right. And you think like if that, say, a basketball player comes to you that is looking to get represented by you, you say you're well read, you like start reading their books and any interviews they might have done and start like watching games that they've played.
So yes and no. I meant that more so when I'm starting to pitch them to brands. But as far as
Mm,
the recruitment process of the talent, I have ideas. And I think it comes through that I actually care about building a business, not just a paycheck. At the end of the day, I want a good relationship with people. I don't try to screw anyone over. A lot of agents are pretty dirty.
mm,
And I think it comes across like I do know what I'm doing. And I do have a CV to back it up.
mm. Like you have the receipt to
I
show,
do. I do.
you
It's
know?
very easy to fact check me. I mean, you can pull up my roster. Um, it's very easy. And if someone has a question like, did you do deals? I send them to one of my clients' page. I'm like, look at all the deals they're doing and look at what they're doing. So,
So when people come to you, are they looking to grow on a platform or are most of them looking to maintain on a platform?
so
Or
I'm not a growth coach. I make people money. I'm a
okay.
salesperson. So my job is to make them as much money and help them expand their brand, not grow their following. So I'm not a social media growth coach. I don't do any of that. I'm the dollar signs.
Yeah.
So the easiest way I obviously do not represent him, but the easiest way to explain this is like, think of Michael Jordan and Air Jordans, that deal. That's what I do for influencers. I do their book deals. I negotiate their book deals. I negotiate their brand deals. Healthy Girl Kitchen, her book just came out yesterday. And you could buy it everywhere. I negotiated that deal. Negotiate deals with Walmart, whomever. It really is kind of a mixed bag depending on who my clients are. So I'm the money girl.
Whoa, that's really cool. How did you learn your negotiating like skills and techniques? Are there is it like a book you read or podcast that you listen to?
Practice and the New York Yankees. So when I was doing my internship, I at this one sports agency, I never thought I was going to be in sales, and I just was gravitating towards this one salesman. And I was like, oh, like I thought sales was like crummy. And he was like a shark. He came in with like a cool suit and he was slinging like multi-million-dollar deals. And I was like, shit, I need to learn from him. And he wasn't really giving me the time of day until I found out from his coworker what his favorite coffee was, got in early, put it on his desk with a note that said, would you please meet with me? And I learned a lot from him. And then when I went to the New York Yankees, I had some phenomenal people telling me of like very formulaic sales, right? And of course you come up with your own crap, but when you're first learning something, there's some basics that you can go in with. And Mario and Oliveira, cut that out. I got to find his name. Cut that. So Mario and Ken at the New York Yankees were my bosses, and they taught me so much, as well as a number of other salespeople. So I was on the sales floor. I was making 150 calls a day. I was sending at least 50 emails. So I was talking and practicing all day long. Yeah. I was getting people in meetings. I was doing big deals. A lot of people think, you're selling Yankees tickets. Okay. So like $50. No, I mean $100,000, $150,000, sweet sales, things like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Season tickets. We don't sell individuals. We're not box office. We sell, the big packages. That's what inside sales was. So it was the reps there. As well as, it's no secret that I like to talk.
That's why I thought you'd be a great guest, Christina.
Oh, hopefully I'm delivering. So.
That's cool. That is really impressive. It's almost like you practiced your jab cross over and over again. And now you're fighting professionally and negotiating bigger contracts and bigger deals for influencers. Honestly, the sales you touched on, like you thought sales was gross. I thought the same thing when I got into real estate. I was like, ugh, real estate. But like the general perception of it sucks, right?
It sucks.
But like I always think of it as like, how can I use my position to change other people's perspective on that?
Yeah.
And it's by having good business practices, right? It's by being an honest and transparent Christina, like not getting somebody to sign a deal that you didn't divulge all the info to. Like these are the important things that I think will eventually start to change people's perceptions of what sales are in general, no matter if you're selling real estate or cars or book contracts. Like it is a really fun position that is really rewarding. I mean, you probably get a lot of love and a sense of fulfillment seeing like the person get their book deal and see their book go across the shelves, Yeah.
And I mean, I had a number of mentors who I got to listen on phone calls, whether it was the guy from that agency or the CEO here. So I really got to learn what worked. And then I got to practice and figure out what my delivery was going to be. Right. Mm-hmm. So because I think people also think that there's one way to sell, and that's not the case. You got to figure out what works for you. But I completely agree with you. It's about, talking to someone, getting to know them. If they have objections, welcome them and kind of shift their perspective. Right. So I agree. I hope more people get into sales because you also get to control your income. Right.
Yeah.
You get to control how much money you have to a degree, right?
Yeah, so, right. It's a weird business sales is because it's very eat what you kill. Like you can chill and sit in your underwear and play video games all day if you want. That's cool. But the opportunity of landing a deal or closing a deal is going to slip away from your fingers if you do that, But you have that flexibility in the schedule to decide, you worked 90 hours last week. You deserve a full day to like veg out and not do anything. So you have like that balance,
Yeah.
When these influencers are coming to you, are they coming from one certain platform? Do you think you get a lot more influencers from like YouTube versus Instagram?
Great question. So I would say the majority of my roster at least started on TikTok. We started at Instagram, obviously with Jen and a number of my clients, Amanda Mixner, some of my OG clients. But we were one of the first agencies on TikTok. I think there's something special about being first to market. And at the time it was COVID. So there's two sides of the business. There's the talent representation side, which is mainly what I do, but I also do corporate consulting for brands, and I book whoever they want to book. So if they're doing a digital campaign, a speaking event, or a music act, I can book them for them. So I'm either a consultant or a broker for deals there. And that side was kind of 50-50 with talent representation. We only had a roster of about 5 or 6 before COVID. And then it was all corporate consulting, chef bookings, whatever, athlete bookings, right? When COVID hit, the booking side tanked and we needed to figure out what we were doing. And at the time, digital was getting so big. So TikTok, no one was on it yet. We signed a ton of people before there were really agents on TikTok and really had a mainstay there. And I launched my corporate clients who were doing marketing campaigns with me over there as well. So we really came in strong, hot, first to market too. So again, we had experience under our belt. It wasn't new when we were recruiting talent. So I'd say TikTok. A lot of my clients have expanded into YouTube. I think YouTube is phenomenal. If you want the best bang for your buck in simple content creation, I don't want to say simple content creation, but in content creation, not brand deals or product sales, YouTube's the platform you're on. It has the highest conversion rates, usually the most loyal subscribers. And then I obviously have some Instagrammers too. So, I mean, I have a lot on TikTok, but a lot of my clients are expanding out and building out platforms across platforms, which is what you want. That's really what you want. Because at any period, your account can get shut down. So you definitely want that.
Yeah, right. And do you think that you guys being on TikTok first, was that just like a lucky shot, or did you guys see something in TikTok that made you guys want to be on it quickly?
You know, revenue was going down the drain. Our back was against the wall. We're like, we need to expand our talent representation side. At one point, the agency repped 500 Olympic athletes. We downsized that roster. Yeah. We downsized that roster in 2008. I wasn't with the company, but he did, and opened up the corporate consulting division because that was where the money was. You know, we were following the money, right? And he didn't really want to be working with athletes as much anymore. Now we have just the best athlete clients, but you know, there's something new happening. No one's looking at it, but we have a funny feeling that this might be the next thing. We had already started saying that video was where it was at before COVID hit. So when we saw a platform about video and video only with when TikTok first launched, just like any platform, usually, it was a really great way to get eyeballs. And you had these people at the time with no competition who are reaching 100,000 views per post. And it was, okay, where can I sell into that? Right? What brand is going to want to see that? So we got on there because we had a feeling, because we saw video going in that direction. And, you know, our backs are up against the wall. What are we going to do? How are we going to pivot? How are we going to get money?
Yeah. That's when I got into real estate in 2018. That was all I heard was video. You need to get in video to get in front of it so people can connect with you easier. And it went from literally COVID turned it from you should have long form videos on YouTube and then repurpose it on Facebook. And then within 2 years, everybody went from long form is the way to go to now short form is the way to go.
Yeah.
And now there's even an argument to have short form and long form, both as a good mix to kind of diversify your portfolio, right?
Yeah, because they're two separate viewers for the most part.
Right. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, Christina, but the long form video, older age range, short form, younger age range. Not always the same, but typically speaking, right?
Yeah, typically speaking in the general, I'd say yes. But, you know, I find that whatever you're working on, right? So like, for example, real estate, yes, people want to see, you know, beautiful homes, right? And beautiful designs. And they just want that like instant gratification of short term. So like that would be a great funnel for a longer term video where now, okay, we found out we like this home. I'm going to scroll, or we found out we like this home, I'm actively ready to buy. Where can I find out more info? So there's a funnel system that you could build out, especially with, sales and acquisition, that works quite well. Generally speaking, long form content converts at a better rate. Generally.
Because if you can get them to sit
that's
for
short.
5 minutes, then you got them locked in.
Yeah. Right. And you go to watch long form content in a different state than you do short form content, right? I'm probably not going to be watching 10-minute YouTube long form videos from my bed. It'll probably be like, oh, I need more information on this. Let me sit down and watch it, right? Yeah. Or I'm actively seeking out specific content. Versus, if I'm on Instagram Reels or TikTok, I'm just scrolling to scroll, and who knows if I even have a brain cell left at that point.
Yeah, right. You don't focus on growing your client's audience on social media, but do you talk about how to have a social media presence, that you should have a social media presence?
All of my clients already have established social media presence. That is their job. So before they come to me, they have to have that. Or before I'm interested, they have to have that. I'm not a growth coach. That is not my strength. There are specifically people like Rachel Peterson or Kyla of the Bach Agency who are phenomenal growth coaches, and they're great at what they do. I will advise on content just because I get to see a lot of campaigns. So I'm like, this topic I think is going to hit pretty hard. You might want to think about making content around that. Or, be on the lookout for this, or maybe try this, or maybe try that. But no, my role is money.
I think it goes to the fact that like social media really has changed the landscape of a lot of businesses. Like, how do you think it's affected your clients in a positive or negative way?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the deal size and the ability to sell through product is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I had a number of clients make over $1 million last year in just brand endorsements.
Just brand endorsements on social media.
Yeah.
I say that one more time because I think people think there's chump change in social media.
So I had a number of clients make over $1 million just off of social media brand deals and ad shares. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That is a crazy number, because that mentality with people that influencers don't make much money or really money at all, like that totally goes out the window when you tell me that.
Yeah. So, I mean, most influencers don't do that well, but I mean, they're represented by me. So of course, but, yeah. But yeah, I mean, a number of my clients did that, as well as, my client who launched a book yesterday sold through thousands upon thousands of copies in less than 24 hours. Wow. So, I mean, there's opportunity anywhere from selling your own products. You own a media company at that point, pretty much, to, brand endorsement deals. And sometimes I have clients that are one or the other, depending on how they lay out their content, and may only care about one or the other. And I'm not saying all influencers convert, because they certainly don't. But yeah, I mean, I had clients do very, 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 very well.
Now, for you, how do you structure your goals and measure your success in your job?
Yeah. So, I mean, last year, I took over as the president of the company, and I wanted to increase revenue. I didn't necessarily know how much I wanted to increase it by, but I had monthly goals and where I wanted my team to hit. And we grew revenue by 500% in a year. Wow. So, I'm very numbers driven, very data driven. And, it's one of those things where, my goal was to expand then. And my goal this year is to get more clients and expand and find another salesperson and all these different things. How I structure them is something that I'm actively working on. And my goals really for this year were reflective of what I was lacking last year that kind of had some negative implications. So I was definitely, like, especially last year, it kind of came to a head, a workaholic to the point that it was not good. Really not good. And I got to the point at the end of last year where I took my first vacation I had in years. in years,
Wow.
my first time off. And I became sick, and I was sick pretty much for like 10 days. And it was because I just don't take breaks and don't do that.
Yeah.
So my goals this year are, one, grow the business, but also total overall wellness for myself, and also to grow my social media too. I'm trying to figure out how to best work those goals. I was listening. You would really like him, Cory. Graham Weaver. He is the CEO of this huge VC, Stanford professor. And what he says, and it hasn't been going as well as I'd like it to, but it's progress, not perfection, right? Progress,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
perfection.
Yep.
And he says to write down 3 things in the morning that you're going to accomplish that day to get to your goals. So that's something that I've been trying to do, as well as actually, believe it or not, shutting off my phone and only be focused on one task, and time blocking. Time blocking is huge for me. It was something I learned at the Yankees, but making sure there's no cell phone time and really just being present. So when my mind is ready or needs to be active, it is sharp. So yeah. What about you? What do you do?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I time block my stuff, and I have like a routine for my patterns now. Like, I know Wednesdays are usually my days in the office, is usually the days I like to shoot content for the week and kind of just build it up a little bit. That's my goal this year, is to be able to push out more content, more real estate and Muay Thai content. And that was one thing that I learned, was that like the time blocking was super crucial, because if I put on my schedule 30 minutes on Monday morning, going to go through and email clean out day, all the emails in my inbox that have accrued, I'm going to put them in their right folders by clients, delete all the crap that I don't need, just tidy up a little bit. But that half hour and putting it in my calendar and committing to it in my calendar has been very crucial to me, because like you said, if I just don't put it in my calendar and then I sit down Monday morning, then all of a sudden I'm like on Instagram and I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh, this is a fun video. Yeah. Oh, look at that combination. That's cool. And then I'm like, holy shit, it's 2:00. How did that happen? Like, the day just goes right down the toilet from doom scrolling, So time blocking for me has been really crucial.
Yeah, I love time blocking.
Your 3 things that you do every day, is it like something you put on the mirror or on your monitor to remind you?
So I really like handwritten things.
Me too.
And I'm like I got like scratch scribbles and everything. And I've been shifting, because I like waking up early in the morning. But I've been shifting towards, doing it at night. But it's just 3 things that you need to accomplish to get closer to your goal the next day. So it's just 3 things you can do. And I try to get them done early in the morning, because I find later in the day I'm not as like ready to go. But they vary every day. But yeah, I try to write them down. If not, I'll use like the notes feature on a computer, and I'll put them in there. This is what I want to get accomplished. But yeah, I, like you said with the calendar, if it's on I tell my team this, when it comes to meetings, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. So I'm really big on that.
I even will schedule family time in my calendar, so I do not schedule an appointment during that time. Because if I tell Brittany we're going to do something Saturday morning and I don't put it in the calendar, I feel like a complete dunce when I forget and I scheduled a showing. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be the dad that was too busy to go to Ashton's gymnastics class. I want to be the dad that was present there for him. And it's, when you are in this job, you have that freedom to do so. So why not give yourself the right tools and the right processes to make sure you're there for your spouse, yourself, for your kids, And those systems are like really crucial to help, especially when you're an entrepreneur. Are there like other systems you put in place that kind of help with the ease
I have
of
systems
the day?
and templates for everything right now. So
I mean, Christina, you would be like an Excel sheets queen.
I have templates. My big thing is efficiency. How can we be efficient? I find that a lot of time is wasted on bullshit, for lack of a better word. Even in meetings, my meetings, when I schedule meetings, unless they're super big, they're 15 minutes. Because if you can't tell me what you need to tell me in 15 minutes, why am I giving you a half an hour? So I'm really big on being very, very efficient and getting to the point. Like, get rid of the fluff, get rid of the garbage. What are you asking me? What are we doing? What are the issues? How can we solve them? So I'm really big on efficiency, and I'm even trying to get better at that, not necessarily for better work productivity, but that will in turn happen, but to also make sure I have time for myself too. There's that 5-hour work week book that I really want to read. I haven't read it yet. But you see so many companies too going to 4 days instead of 5, and they're finding productivity goes up and things like that. And what does that look like? So, I mean, I have systems for everything. And I've also found through doing those systems and opening up time, what am I trying to avoid doing too by making myself busy? And how can we cut that out and get to the chase, right? That avoidance, right? What are we doing? What are we doing, right?
Right.
So dealing with that too.
Do you guys have like weekly meetings that you do every week?
Yeah. I mean, I have a full
daily?
team. I have a full team. So I have an assistant, there's CEO, there's an assistant. I have an activations team. I have an accountant. The accountant was actually Joe Rogan and Jennifer Aniston's agent back in the day too. So she was in the business as well. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I mean, we have a rock star team. I mean, Danica, my assistant she keeps me, she's awesome. But yeah, I mean, I have processes from, email templates for sales to processes for updates and things like that. And I'm very big on getting to them before they get to you, if that makes sense. So if somebody's looking for an update and it comes Friday and they know they're expecting an update, like making sure that update is either there or before they email you, where's my update, that you're saying you're going to get it to them Monday instead. Like, I'm very big on being proactive and getting there first before someone has to ask you. That's really how you stay on your stuff and make sure that you're delivering and also retain clients.
Right. And those systems, how have you learned how to enable those systems? Is it just through working at the Yankees, or is it stuff like info that you sought out?
I was thrown into the fire in a way, which was good, right? It's a small company, right? It was just kind of me and the CEO. And then as we expanded, Evan's a visionary. I'm type A and needed to build things out. Otherwise I was going to lose my mind. So it was honestly being into the fire at a startup, so much different than corporate. Corporate is one job and one job alone, and that's it. At a startup, it's so much more. You're doing or startup. I don't want to say startup like we're new, but in a small company, you're wearing multiple hats. And how do we streamline this? And it was a lot of trial and error. Like, God bless the first people that worked under me. I was probably horrible. But I mean, like, I was probably a mess. Learning. Yeah, exactly. At their expense, but they still got a paycheck. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of that, sticking to things. We do pipeline reviews every single day. We have team calls every single day. We talk throughout the day. We have certain things that just are there on a weekly basis that we need to get done. And if there's something we need to work on, I recently, and I'm hoping my team takes me up on this, to kind of prevent that shiny object syndrome, right? Like, you start getting distracted. Emails are coming in, clients are contacting you, co-working, virtual co-working too, where if someone wants to just go on a Zoom with me and just to make sure they hold themselves accountable. That was something that we talked about yesterday, kind of implementing too.
Do you have like a mentor or someone that you like talk to regularly?
Yeah. I mean, I recently got this mentor who he has been beyond incredible. And I have a number of other friends and mentors that have helped me through, but Stephen Smick, who was a family friend that I didn't even know worked in influencer marketing until I don't know, like, I knew him for a long time. He's just been awesome to bounce ideas off of. Oh my gosh, he sold his company. He's super successful. And what's been really cool about seeing him, especially in the entertainment business, so many people can be dirty or grimy or things like that, is that he is not at all. He is very business, he does a lot of math calculations. He makes sure things are profitable, but at the same time, he's so kind that it's not something you see often in the marketplace, in the entertainment industry. Of course, I had Evan, the CEO, I learned everything about the business through him, but like having Steven as a mentor has been awesome. And we grab coffee and we talk about all things, and he brings up ideas and things he's seen because he's so much further along in his career than I am. And that's been fantastic. And then I have a number of other friends, whether they work in finance or other industries, that are just like top guns, that are friends of mine, that are great to bounce ideas off of too.
Yeah, there's in real estate, there's lots of great mentors, but there's even people who aren't in the industry that are great mentors. It's like my buddy, like Frank at the gym. He's owned businesses. He has provided a really nice, comfortable life for himself by building businesses. So he is able to like talk to me about this is what you should focus on, processes. Like he was the one that really taught me like making sure you have processes in place is like super crucial. And I've never really had anyone business oriented in my life before. So having the mentor to like talk to, and it's not even a real estate like mentor. Like Frank has had no investment properties, no really juice in like a dog in the fight with real estate.
Yeah.
But he's able to look at things from a different perspective and also kind of like hold me accountable for stuff too, you know, which is super important, especially when we're in a field where we don't really have a direct boss, you know, like you have your friend Evan that you like have.
He's our CEO. So I'm president. So yes, he is the CEO. I'm the president of the company. So I do definitely report to him, but it's definitely more like I run my side of the ship. It's not like I'm getting status reports or anything like that. But no, I definitely hear you. And you also need to make sure you're surrounded by people who will tell you the truth too. And I've been very lucky to have that. And just because it's uncomfortable to hear doesn't mean you didn't need to hear it. So I've been very lucky, especially I've had some people kick me in the ass the last year about certain things, whether they be work things or other things, where it's just been like, ooh, that wasn't nice to hear, but I definitely needed to hear it. So yeah, no, I think mentors are important, and I think they can really be helpful regardless of the business that you're in, and potentially there's opportunity there. You know what I mean? I think there's so much opportunity out there. You know, you're in sales, I'm in sales. At the end of the day, once you get into sales, you can pretty much sell anything, whether it's a car or an influencer or whatever. So I think our skills are pretty interchangeable too.
Yeah, I heard sales is like, it doesn't matter what you're selling, but at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're just listening to our clients' problems and figuring out a solution to those problems, right? Rather it be selling or landing their first book deal, or like, it's really about, at the end of the day, like listening to what meets their needs and finding a solution to their problems. And I think that the days of like, hey, what can I do to get you in this new car? Or, you know, like, I think those days are come and gone.
Yeah. No, definitely. You know, influencers, you know, they want brand deals, but they don't realize if they want brand deals, and they're solo practitioners, they don't have an agent, or they're not ready for an agent yet. They don't realize that means they have to be in sales, which comes with everything that sales is. It's rejection, it's outreach, it's cold calls, it's all these things. And the common thing that I see as a trap for so many social media influencers, they enter into conversations about how much they love the product. So for example, if I'm an influencer, I don't have the following for an agent yet, but I still want a brand deal, whatever, and I want to work with Starbucks. I go to Starbucks and I'm like, Starbucks, I love you. It's so awesome. I really want to work together. It's about me, not about them. So it's more so, you know, hey, Starbucks, I have an audience that actively drinks this stuff. My views on my videos specifically for Starbucks are X, Y, and Z. I think we could do something really cool with this, this, and this. Would love to find a way to work together. So that's listing out the value that you could potentially bring, right? And then closing a deal that way. I mean, it's as simple as, you know, if you went up to a Starbucks counter and said, you know, I love Starbucks, can I have this for free? Or can you pay me for $5? Like, I mean, it's the same sort of concept. But I think sometimes with influencers, it kind of gets muddled.
I was going to say, is there a common thing or a trend that influencers come to you with looking for help with?
Yeah, I mean, long-term deals are what everybody wants, but long-term deals when COVID hit were harder to get. And that's enough for a number of reasons that they don't have control over. It could be supply chain, it could be Chinese New Year, it could be anything. It could be, businesses with inflation and the rising costs, they cannot commit to something like that. So there's a lot of things that you can't control, but what can you control? So, I encourage a lot of my clients, if they're really trying to make money, to have some sort of digital course they can sell, something like that, because that's something that they can control and control the promotion around. But I mean, the whole thing is long-term deals, being an influencer with brand deals for the most part is very seasonal too. You got to kind of stay the course. It's sometimes gets rocky. There are some months that aren't good for your categories. For example, if you're a health influencer, the truth is you're probably not doing a lot of branded posts between October and December. Come January, it'll be awesome.
Yep.
So it's also, budgeting that out and setting expectations that right now may not be the best thing for your category, but come January to March, you're going to be hitting home runs.
Right. Wow. Christina, this was great. I feel one last question, I think, before
Yeah.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever got? And it could be personal, it could be business.
Oh, shoot. That's a good one.
Right? It's tough.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let me think. You tell me yours first. You got to tell me yours first.
For business, it's for me, I remember my mentor saying when I first got into business, do something every day that pushes your business forward. So every day in real estate, it's very easy to take a chill, relaxed day. But every day, ask yourself, what did I do to grow my business? And it could be, did I make a few phone calls? Did I reach out to old clients? Did I make a Facebook post? Did I tour some houses? Did I go to some open houses this weekend? Anything that's involved in the real estate world, industry, we should be doing every day. And it doesn't have to be a large commitment. It could be like a 2-minute thing. Maybe you listen to a podcast. Maybe you educated yourself a little bit on the real estate market.
Yeah.
All of these things, do something every day that launches your career in the right direction. That was influential for me. That was big because when I got into real estate, I was like, oh my God, what do I do every day? I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I was like a dog with a new toy. I'm like, look at this, cool. This is awesome. But then I'm like, what do I do with it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I bury it? Do I tear it apart? I don't know what to do.
Yeah. No, it's hard, especially going into anything new. It's like, what do you do first? You just do something. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I like that. I have two. One I said a few times in the podcast, fake it till you make it. That has gotten me over so many bumps that I was terrified to do. I'm like, all right, here we go. And then the other one is always bet on yourself. I'm a big believer in that. Always bet on yourself. You could figure it out. You're smart enough to figure things out. You're smart enough to figure out where you need to go. You could figure it out. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't know. It's I'll figure it out. So betting on yourself to be able to get out of situations, get into situations, do what you want to do, and then just doing it. Right. So I think those would be my two big ones.
It's like my first listing appointment without my mentor, Donna. Like the first few listing appointments you go on, I got Donna there she would help me with the contract for I had any hiccup. My first one, I was fake it till you make it 100. I was like, yep, we're going to list the house. We're going to sell it. No problem. And then all I'm thinking inside is like, what am I doing? Like I'm scared shitless. Even though I've done it before, it was just fake it, like be the most genuine. And if it doesn't mean like lie, it doesn't mean like tell them yes to everything. It just means that like I think those two go hand in hand together very beautifully. And I think that is a very, a big part to why you are so successful in your field.
I appreciate that.
Because you did shit that you were scared of. And every single day you did something that was kind of outside your comfort zone,
Yeah. And I think the same goes for you. I mean, you're also very good, Cory, at being able to explain things. I remember taking your Muay Thai classes, and you're very good at that communication aspect. So I think that is really highly beneficial. So
I've just cherry picked it from other instructors.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
100%.
the thing. Like everything's applicable to everything at the end of the day. Like
Yep.
everything's applicable to everything. But
Yep. I take Tamden's very blunt way to explain things with Sifu's storytelling ways, with
yes,
Dennis's very intricate detail, and then I take Steve's way to demonstrate the move. Like, it's all, my teaching is a piece of every single person that I've learned from.
yeah,
And that's how real estate is for me. Like, that's how my career is. Like, my business is from, like, the way Donna does business. I've taken some techniques that she's done, and vice versa with Carol in the office or Mark in our office. Like, all
yeah,
these people, I try to emulate their better qualities from, because there's a reason why they're successful, right?
yes, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
I'll copy some of their business practices. I'll
yeah,
copy some of Sifu's storytelling, teaching ways.
yeah. No, I think there's something to learn from everyone, right?
Yep.
But
Well, thank you so much, Christina, for doing this
thank
podcast and
you. I
saying
gotta
very
get a
sweet things
little.
about me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's a little bit of a delay on my side, but no, thank you
No,
so
it's
much
good.
for asking me to come on the podcast. I was so excited. And then hopefully I can get up to Syracuse and we can train together and all that fun
Yes,
stuff
please.
too. But I definitely need to take like a little video, so just pretend you're talking or something. Right?
Yo, yeah, exactly. So when you shoot the video, now it's going to make it look like I'm talking, and it makes it
Yes.
look like I'm really
Yeah.
engaged in the video. And now you got a great video to post.
And I have one final question for you. Who is the
Okay.
best podcast guest you've ever had?
Ah!
He said me. Thank you. But really, thank you so much for having me on. It was great to kind of catch up, and hopefully I can get up to Syracuse soon. How's the family doing? Family's good? Oh, your sound is off, I think. I can hear you.
Family's good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Family's
Family's
good.
good?
A new house. We moved away from our starter home. Got something a little bit bigger for the family. So
Congrats.
very grateful. Feeling very good.
Do you think that the market's going to be coming down and there's going to be some foreclosures in the next 6 months, or what is your prediction?
I don't know. I think nationally we'll see foreclosures go up in the next couple of years. I don't think it'll be immediate. Here in
Yeah.
Syracuse, though, I don't think we're going to feel what a lot of the nation is feeling
Yeah.
right now. Onondaga County sits at like 8 days on market, average day on market for a
Oh,
house,
wow.
which is still like a house sells in a week. That's pretty impressive, you know?
Yeah, that is
Other
impressive.
parts of the world, not so much. But we
Yeah.
have really affordable housing. We have a really giant microchip plant going in. So all these things really affect the value of people's houses.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So
No, I'm just curious.
yeah, are you trying to scoop up a foreclosure?
Probably as an investment property, I have absolutely no desire to own a home.
Yeah,
I'm being
you're not
really
feeling
honest
it.
with you. But I was
Yep.
thinking like in Florida, either, honest to God, I'm obviously getting married. And I was thinking, maybe I buy a property that would be a wedding venue, because you should see what people are charging for these estate homes. Like, even if they're not
Yeah.
even the best, like doing something like that. I either thought about, maybe buying around the Finger Lakes if I found a foreclosure up there, but I was really
Nice.
leaning more towards south.
Yeah.
But I also have the VA loan with Nate too, so
Yeah.
I won't have to put any money down.
Perfect.
But really, scooping up a foreclosure and a good property just as an investment property, not to live in.
Yeah. Well, who knows what the next few years may happen. I think
Yeah.
we're in a crazy market, which is the most interesting we've ever seen, because there's not enough houses to quench
Yeah.
the thirst of people that are out there.
Yeah.
And even though the nation is feeling it locally, we haven't felt
That's awesome.
any changes. Everything's been still multiple offers. There was a house last week, Christina. It had 15 offers on it. It was on the market for 3 days, and it had over 50 showings on it.
What was it being sold for? Like, what was the price point?
185. Yeah, it was a Cape Cod.
185. Okay.
185, Christina, for a 3-bed, 1.5 bath Cape. That comparatively, if you take that same house for 185 and you put it in Florida, that house would sell for $400,000.
Yeah.
Like here in Syracuse, housing is very affordable, but we have way more taxes than other people have. So that kind of affects the affordability.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes look and like if we only had a crystal ball like prior to COVID, I should have bought like 3 houses in Florida. But yeah, no, it's just I was curious to get your thoughts. But I have to run to a 2:30. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and when this episode gets closer, I'll let you know. It probably is going to be looking like first week of February, but I'll let you know when we get closer.
Sounds great to me.
Right,
Have a great day, Cory.
Appreciate you,
Bye.
Christina. See ya. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Cory Cast. I really appreciate the time that you spent listening and even listening to the full episode to get you to this point. I just want to say I'm just so appreciative and so thankful that I have so much love and support for these episodes. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, reach out to me. I'm always looking for new people. Let's talk about what you're passionate about. Let's talk about your hobbies. Let's give you a positive platform to talk about the things that matter to you. Do me a favor, make sure you hit subscribe, like, follow, leave a review of the podcast. All those little things will help this podcast grow. Because without you guys, there is no podcast. And I am just so grateful that you're taking the time to listen to it today. Thank you so much.